Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, 2 days ago, or 2 nights ago, the Russians, or in the morning of Friday morning, at 4 o'clock a.m., the Russians launched a massive missile attack. Remember that one? 23 missiles from the Caspian Sea with Tupolev 95s. Remember that one? Yeah. Out of the 23, supposedly 21 missiles were destroyed by the Ukrainians. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was wondering why they didn't use the fleet, the Russian fleet from the Black Sea. I was like, oh my God, these guys are bringing cruise missile carriers over there, but they don't use it. They don't use them. They had submarines, nothing, vessels, nothing. Well, they just did it. The Russians used their vessels in the Black Sea and finally launched some missile attacks on Ukraine today, a few minutes ago, actually. A few minutes, I don't know exactly how many, but I have 3 articles here. I have an article from the Ukrainians. Actually, I have 2 from Ukrainians and 1 from the Russians. The Russians report what they did. The Ukrainians first say, hey, this morning, hey, the Russians have some cruise missile carriers on standby, on combat duty, ready. Well, that was boom boom later after that article was released. And then I have the 3rd article coming from the Ukrainian telling us how many missiles the Russians used since October 2022. So let's start with the weasels first, telling us, crying and saying, there are 2 Russian missile carriers on combat duty in Black Sea. This is on 29th of April 2023 at 10:39 a.m. Well, I looked at this article and I said, well, should I make this video? Should I not for 2 Russian missile carriers? Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to waste your time, guys. So I'm going to make a video of it. I said, fuck it, I'm going to just pass this one. So, on the morning of April 29, today, 2023, Russia's naval group in the Black Sea consisted of 14 warships. Now, that would have been a big deal, including 2 Calibre-type missile carriers. Boo. That's not enough. Alright, so it says here that the enemy's naval group has slightly reduced, but the missile carriers have remained in place. Yesterday evening, there were 17 of them. Ooh, that's a lot. And then they dropped to 14. Now there are 14 of them, but 2 surface missile carriers are remaining on combat duty with a maximum volley of up to 16 Calibre-type cruise missiles. Alright, so that's it. Now let's go to the next one. Ram pam pam. Russia today. 29th of April, 3:34 p.m. Ukrainian command center destroyed. The facility was targeted by a salvo of sea-launched cruise missiles. I think by something like this. Boom, boom. According to the Russian Defense Ministry. And it says here, Russian military launches cruise missiles at targets in Ukraine. Alright, the Russian Defense Ministry claimed on Saturday that it has destroyed a major Ukrainian command center. Remember, I was... actually, let's read this. I'm going to tell you what I thought about this. Cruise missiles launched from the sea were used to target the facility, the ministry spokesman, Lieutenant General Igor Konashenkov, announced during a media briefing. And I'm quoting, on the evening of the 28th, it was evening, of this year, Russia's armed forces delivered a group strike, so this was on the 8/28, with a sea-based long-range precision weapon. So something is not right here. So this is reported on the 29th. He came on evening 28th. These guys made this article on the 29th without reporting what the Russians report here. Alright, anyway, I'm just reading, okay? So, armed forces delivered a group strike with sea-based long-range precision weapons at the location of the commanding officers of Ukraine's joint troops group Kherson, Konashenkov stated, adding that the goal of the strike had been achieved. The official did not provide any estimates on the potential Ukrainian casualties. So, this is what he says here. Let me see, because these are 2 things. 2 things. One is this is the one evening of 28th, which is 28th is the evening of Friday. The other attack occurred on Friday morning at 4 a.m., So this is the second one, but this is from the Black Sea. The other one was from Caspian Sea. The other one were Tupelov 95. These were from sea-based. That means from ram pam pam, this kind. And now let's go to this little thing here, which is, hey, me. Remember, when these guys were waiting for the massive missile attacks, and I was waiting for that because they were doing it every month, I claimed that maybe they changed the tactic, that they will not hit the infrastructure anymore because it's warm outside and there's no use to create problems with that one. That was the whole purpose, I guess, during the winter time. So I said probably they're going to start hitting more important targets would be command post. You can watch this video. I think I did it maybe 2 days or 3 days ago regarding the same thing. What happened? So here it is. This is exactly what these guys are doing. Coincidence? I think it was just logical that the Russians will not hit anymore, or maybe they will lower the hitting the infrastructure and they will go on command post. Now the other attack on Friday morning, remember Friday morning? So Friday morning was from the Caspian Sea, Friday evening was from the Black Sea. So from the Caspian Sea, the Russians stated that they hit a recruitment center, the training center where the troops, Ukrainians were training troops to send them for the counteroffensive. And this is the command post. So there's two different strikes. The first one was on the troops near Kiev. This one, and that was from a Caspian Sea with Tupelov 95s. And this was from the Black Sea with sea-based, which is ships or maybe submarines. And they hit command post. I have to look back and we see exactly where the command post was, because I think they said something Kherson area. But let me go now to the third article before I go. Actually, let me go to this one and figure out here, because I jumped here. I said, well, nothing important anymore. Let's see if they have any name right here. As a result of the attack, a multi-sensory residential building was damaged in the Ukrainian city of Uman, located in the central Bababab. It was not immediately clear what exactly struck the building, given the many instances of Ukrainian air defense projectiles having hit civilian sites in the country, blah, blah, blah. Ukrainian forces, meanwhile, appear to have intensified attacks. All right, on Friday. It doesn't say. I don't see here anything where it says the location. I don't see anything here. Kherson, here it is. Maybe this commanding, right here. What the hell? I'm old. My skin is cold. So officers of Ukraine joined troop group in Kherson. So that's why they did. Jesus, I read this. At the location of the commanding officers, they hit in Kherson. And now let's go and see where Kherson is. All right, let's go here. And here is the Russian map. The Kherson is right here. This is Crimean Peninsula. So this is Kherson right here. It was struck by the Russian fleet, which is located in this area here. So from here, zoop, right there. Long-range missile. They said it was a long-range missile. So that's about what, 200 miles maybe. So let's go now to the third article that I have here ready. And this comes again from Ukrinform. And it says Russia launched over 1,000 drones, missiles at Ukraine's energy infrastructure since October. That's true. That was the Ukraine energy infrastructure. And now there's no more energy infrastructure. This is command center. And the other one that was, as I said, a training garrison. So let's go back here now. This one right here. Russia has used more than 1,000 drones and missiles in 33 large-scale attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure since October 2022, after you guys blew up the Kerch bridge. Right here. Remember that one? After you did that, and the Russian says, if you hit anything here, we're going to give you hell. Well, I think it was something close to. So here's where they hit. Remember that attack? All right. Now, that was, I think, in the 8th of, or 8, I think it was 7 or 8 of October. And the next day, on the 9th, I think it was, the Russians started launching large attacks on energy infrastructure. So starting from October, I'm quoting, starting from October and during a further 6 months, the Ukrainian energy sector suffered a lot of damage. The terrorist nation carried out more than 33 massive attacks. More than 1,000 drones and missiles were launched at energy facilities, and 270 of them hit combined heat and power plants, thermal power plants, hydroelectric power plants, and so on. Some 24 generation facilities, about half of the substations of the transmission systems, and 43% of the trunk networks were damaged. In most cases, they were hit several times. According to him, this guy that reports here, at the end of the heating season, Ukraine's energy system temporarily lost 44% of the nuclear generation, 78% of the TPP capacity, and so probably that's hydro power plants, and this is the thermal power plants, and 66 of the hydro power plants capability, 75% of wind generation, and about that's what 3 windmills, and about 20% of solar generation due to destruction. So here it is. The Russians switched their tactic. They're gonna hit now more important targets that make sense for them to destroy, which is, as I said, command posts or clusters of troops that will be ready to be brought to the front, or tanks, armored vehicles, whatever weapons the NATO will move from NATO countries into NATO front, which is against Russia. So that's it. I've been waiting for this. So now they didn't mention how many. It was a salvo. They didn't mention how many missiles were launched, but it was up to 16, obviously. But if you just hit a command post, I don't think you need more than, let's say, 2 to make sure that, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.